started. Apologies about that. Okay, so let me go over it again since we are recording. Sorry about that. Okay, so talking about the primary activities, we want to pick another point in the second area of Porter's model. So we've spoken about inbound logistics, talking about procurement of raw materials. So in relation to ice age, you see that there are supplier dependency and occasional delays in supply, which impacts operations. Then the operations parameter we also looked at in ice age. Ice age is impacted by downsizing and workforce issue, and these are serious efficiency concerns. Outbound logistics, you see that ice age manages its logistics and transport through partners, which have occasionally, they've also had delays recently. And you see that the marketing and sales efforts have been affected by employee turnover and outdated practices, which has limited the company to be innovative. And innovation is very important for marketing and sales because you won't be able to drive the frontiers of the company's product. Lastly, after sales support has also suffered due to staff training and inconsistent customer policy, harming customer relations. Also on the primary activity, you see that production is impacted negatively in the sense that efficient manufacturing processes and effective market outreach are affected. Key activities including sourcing of raw materials, managing production line, ensuring quality control and maintaining inventory are hampered. You will see that ice age focuses or emphasizes supply chain management to optimize logistics and distribution. The aim is to meet customer demand, but you'll find out from the exhibit that they also have issues with these parameters as explained by Porter 5's model. And you will see that if they don't ensure that these areas are positively efficient and effectively working, they will have issues in their primary activities. They will have issues in the primary activities, which will also impact supporting activities. Okay, let's pick another mark. We talked about ice age strength lies in robust production capabilities, quality control, supply chain management. So also financial management, budget and cost control, the company relies on that, but it faces weaknesses. You see, one of the weaknesses is that there are potential challenges in managing production and inventory. You could see their inventory from the financials, giving need for improvement. Also financial challenges in the areas of costs and inefficiencies, which is affecting profitability. Their costs are high. So they need to address these weaknesses by refining production process and optimizing inventory management for better alignment with the market demands and the company's goals. So you see, on this issue of model analysis, you've spoken to 5 issues and you just need 4 for superior achievements. Okay, we spoke to 4, apologies, we spoke to 4, which there are others you could talk about. So talk about them between the primary activities, and you can also use support activities as another parameter to pick another 4 marks. So you have enough to talk about: inbound, operations, outbound, marketing and sales. Then you also have after sales. So you have plenty to talk about to pick 1 mark each. So take note of that. And we don't know if the examiner will even test value chain analysis in these diets. So please take note of it. All right. So the third one, we want to talk about primary and support activities. So the third activity based on our format, we want to identify issues and options. So instead of trend analysis, where we generally look at the trends in the financial statements, we will look at support and primary activities in the sense that this model is what is given to us. So we need to discuss it extensively. We talk about the professional tools, which are our value chain model or value chain analysis as enumerated by Porter. Then we also talk about identification of options, issues and options, also based on the model as generated by Porter. So let's go now and discuss primary and support activities. So you will see that the inbound logistic, there is reliance on a problematic supplier from the case, which has led to delays and complications, particularly during periods of liquidity strain. This information is in Exhibit 2 if you read it. You also see that this dependency on a single supplier creates vulnerabilities in the supply chain, impacting their production's continuity. So in your recommendation, you should ensure that they should have a plethora of suppliers, different suppliers, so that if one breaks down, it will not affect production. That is why in procurement, we normally advocate for 3 vendors in a particular activity to ensure that there's quality and cost savings from those vendors. Additionally, recent cost-cutting measures have led to sourcing raw materials from lower suppliers, smaller suppliers, and this has impacted quality of their production, affecting certification demand. So there are certifications that are ISO in nature, International Standards Organization, could be impacted if the quality of your products are not up to standard. In Nigeria, we have Standards Organization of Nigeria. Internationally, we have the ISO standards. In my office, we have ISO 15189, which drives quality improvement. So in relation to Ice Age, with their procurement from smaller suppliers, they will jeopardize quality, which is which is a very big issue. Also potentially affecting their product quality, could also affect their service. And looking at operations, it's evident that the production units understaffing due to downsizing efforts and challenges relating to adhering to minimum wage. So you can see minimum wage has come in as an issue. Just like Nigeria is also advocating for 70,000 and the government and some states are refusing to comply or to pay. Ice Age is also having the same issue, and the reduction in their downsizing of skilled workforce is an issue also. Now, furthermore, unexpected delays in distribution, their lack of automation, they are using manual inventory system, are all inefficiencies. Managing their network or responses to market demands are not responded to timely. So these factors you will see are issues bedeviling Ice Age based on their primary activity. So B, we want to pick another mark. We talk about outbound logistics issues, their distribution network challenge, the market issues, automation of inventory. So most of these activities are interconnected, and it looks as if you are repeating yourself. No, you are not repeating yourself. You are trying to pick points based on those parameters. So even if it looks like repeating yourself, the examiner knows that you are speaking to the model, and the model may sound repetitive, but the issues are there and they are the same. So numbering them appropriately, A, B, C, is telling him that each issue, you are discussing it in the light of the case. You see the inadequate staffing, the policy is also repeated here, but you are picking it based on outbound. You picked it on inbound, and you are talking about it in outbound also, which is tenable. It's tenable. Let me accept somebody. Okay, Yusuf is in. Okay, ACA Zakaria is trying to say something. Please go ahead. You have something to say. Your hand is up.
Okay, sir. What is this parameter? Is it like a point or what?
Yeah, so I was talking about the format. If you look at our format, okay, those are the parameters we use. So we have 6 of them. Data and information. So for both requirements, yes. Okay, go ahead. You want to say something? I'm listening, Zakaria.
I'm done. I'm just asking of the parameters.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, sir.
Okay, so the parameters I'm talking about is these 6 of them before our conclusion recommendation. Then in each of the headers, we have subheaders to pick 4 marks. That's what I'm saying. So currently we're in professional tools where we are talking about the value chain analysis. Now we are in the third parameter where we are identifying issues and options, which has to do with the model on financing and support activity. So the parameters actually are 6. And under those 6, we have 4, 4. So 6 times 4 is 24. So you should be able to write 24 points valid. So even if you cannot state the headers, maybe you can't remember, which is very good you remember so that you can pass in landslide. If you cannot state the headers, write in full notes. So the examiner will be able to identify all your points and make sure they are in 24 different paragraphs. Even if you cannot name their headers and subheaders, make sure they're in 24 different paragraphs for requirement 1 and 2 so that you can pick maximum marks. So, you know, we are very mark conscious. We want to pass the exams. It's not just about writing. It's about passing the exams confidently and comfortably. So these parameters I'm using is to help you practice with it so that with those headers and subheaders, you're talking about analysis of financial information, analysis of the value chain or the model, you will see that the examiner knows this candidate understand case study technique and the format.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
I hope that is here. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so we want to pick another point based on that issues and options. You find out that ICE faces significant after-sales service issues, including inconsistent application of their advertised policy for free after-sales service for 3 months. So you see from Exhibit 2 that they have a policy, but they are not adhering to it. This policy was not honored for a major customer who subsequently sourced products elsewhere. You see, this is reputational risk. They've lost a customer. Additionally, the reduction in staff. You see, this is another issue. In staff training and lack of effective communication about after-sales services have further deteriorated the matter, contributing to negative impact on customer retention and loyalty. You see, you have picked 1 mark by identifying this issue. Number 4, procurement issues related to reliance on a problematic supplier. So you've talked about it in the value chain analysis, but you are bringing it here as an issue. So it may sound as if your documents or your report, body of your report is repetitive, but no. Under each header, it's valid because the points you are picking or stating, the examiner knows under this header, the point or the discussion is very valid. You see, this dependence on particular problematic supplier affects liquidity, the company's ability to maintain production. Without raw materials, I mean, how would they produce? The risk of also compromised lower quality products or raw materials also affects, it's also an issue. So based on the human resource management, based on support activities, you know, under this issue and options, we are merging both primary and support activities together. You see that ICE is understaffed. They are not investing in staff. And when a company does not invest in their staff, the staff are the people that drive the business. Richard Branson, a very big businessman in the UK, said something. He's the owner of Virgin Atlantic. He said, investing in staff is better than investing in customer or clients. Why did he say that? He said when you invest in your staff or your workforce, they satisfy the customer. So a satisfied staff does well in a company and in turn ensures the customers are satisfied. So a lot of people are saying the client or the customer is a king. It's true. But then the staff that service those clients are the king makers, in my opinion. So if the client is a king, fine. But who makes the king? They are also king makers, which are your staff. So in the case of Ice Age, coming back to our discussion, you find out Ice Age has issues that has impacted employee morale negatively. Key staff are leaving for better opportunities, dissatisfied with the company's reluctance to adhere to minimum wage. Sorry, let me accept somebody in. Oh, okay. You see, Zakaria left. So these issues hinder the company's ability to maintain an effective and motivated workforce, which also impacts operational efficiency and customer service. We have spoken about 4 points. We've picked 4 points, but I added one on the infrastructure issues of outdated practices, their lack of investment in technology, which is also a support activity. The company's distribution network is inexperienced, has experienced unexpected delays. So infrastructure issues could cause it, because if you don't have adequate technology, you may not be able to seamlessly continue your production process or fasten your production process in line with best practices. So the deficiency in infrastructure hampers the company's ability to manage inventory. Also, you are additionally saying new ideas to embrace technology, and leveraging this technology in the competitive market is important in Ice Age operational space. Now, if you look at their balance sheet, you will see that the industry information, when you compute the ratios, you will see that Ice Age is lacking behind. That means their competitors are doing better in the areas of state-of-the-art technology and other infrastructure they've invested in. Compute the industry average and compare Ice Age with them. You will see it in your financial analysis that Ice Age is lagging behind. So we've picked 4 points from the primary and support activities, which is the third parameter, and we've identified the issues and options based on this value chain analysis. Okay, so based on our format, the fourth one we want to talk about, the fourth parameter we want to talk about is the application of the model. Now, what are the challenges with the model and what are the considerations? So the fourth parameter, let me go back to our format. Don't forget the format when you are writing. So I encourage you, when you are practicing, to use this format. You may not be able to use it in the exam, but as you practice, you remember them at the exam hall. So I shared it so that you can know how to discuss with this format. It will help you gain maximum marks if you are stratifying and delineating your points based on this. Okay, so the fourth one, we are talking of application of professional skepticism and ethics. So this is what the examiner used in this Pathfinder. Don't use those words verbatim, you will be penalized. He used it verbatim in the Pathfinder. So we changed the words by saying challenges and considerations. So applying professional skepticism is in form of challenges, then your ethics are also considerations, positive or negative. So don't use the examiner's words verbatim, he's going to penalize you. He wants you to write based on your own understanding. So that is why I call that in my own language, challenges and considerations. So what are the challenges Ice Age is facing? Number one, the model, which is Porter value chain, may have issues. Now, most of these models are promulgated or founded in an economy that works. Porter value chain came from the US. Michael Porter is an American. So in a developed country, you're applying a model in an undeveloped country, may not work. The circumstances and factors impacting their space, their economy, and their jurisdiction may not be the same in Africa. So you can point that out as a limitation due to the general nature and complexities of this Ice Age in Nigeria or in Africa. The model may not account for impact of local economic factors, regulatory restraint, and specific industry. So it's a challenge, it's an issue we are speaking to. The procurement, human resource, technology. Consequently, the model provides, of course, a useful framework, you acknowledge, but it may need adjustment to factor in our own circumstances unique to us in Africa. So these points are very valid when you are bringing them to bear, and they are practical. Most of the democracy we copied may not work in Africa generally, because we copied them. It works for them may not mean it works for us. That it also applies to most of these models. So it needs to be fine-tuned, refined, and tailored to our own system. Consequently, the model provides a useful framework, we understand, but there are dynamics that we should change to ensure that it helps impart our own system here. That is very, very important. So we've picked one point there on issues, challenges and considerations. Then the next point we want to pick B. So each point you are stating, make sure you are numbering them A, B, Roman numeral I, like that. The examiner is you are telling the examiner that you are structuring your report and you understand it, than just writing straight down blank. And he's just reading, and he's lost to some point. Okay, so the next one is passing increased production cost due to inflation to customers is a possibility, but it depends on market condition and customers' tolerance. So this is another issue. So where you have high cost of operations and you are passing it to customers, it may be a burden and you will lose people to cheaper services and products, alternatives. It's very important you are careful with the market dynamics, and customer responses is crucial. So you've spoken to another consideration. Number 3, advertising. We need to run, we don't have time. Advertising to gain customer retention is a viable strategy. So now this is a consideration. You need to advertise, particularly improve in that area. Target advertising campaign and other promotional activities will help, is a consideration that will help Ice Age to navigate these current challenges. The next point is modifying products to suit changing customer preferences. So most of the companies that are innovative, if you look at the FMCGs these days, they change things. I was looking at Pepsi yesterday. Pepsi have changed their bottle. Why? It will look as if it's a new thing, but it's the same content, but they keep being innovative. I was looking at the bottle and I was telling my wife and son at the house that look at the bottle has changed, but the content has reduced. All they are doing is rebranding and rebranding to capture the market. And that is why these companies have stayed relevant, Pepsi and Coca-Cola, over the years, decades, centuries. Why? Because they keep being innovative. The bottle of Coke in 1900 and the bottle of Coke in 1950 was different. They kept improving. So Ice Age and every business worthy of repute are supposed to be innovative, improving on the logo, branding, rebranding, responding to customer needs and preferences, which is very crucial. So managing the products is essential for Ice Age to break through. So we've spoken to 4 points. There's one additional one. You conduct a proper customer and competitive analysis to ensure that informed decision making is made and also manage competitive edge. So there's competition, which is stiff and negatively Ice Age is not doing too good in terms of competition, but then they need to stay afloat by ensuring that they conduct proper analysis. Why are they below the industry average? So you talk about that as a consideration. All right, so let's go back to our format. We're looking at analytical skills, which is critical analysis. We're looking at our analytical skills, which is critical analysis. Now, what is under critical analysis? We'll talk about ethics in this area. The information provided by the finance director may not be accurate due to potential biases or incomplete data. So this area, we are not talking of the financial statements. Now we look at that in requirement 2. Take note. So the information on data, you look at some data there, they may not be accurate. You are skeptical about it, which is critical to examining the financial statements. So the inaccuracy may also bring about incomplete financial statements. It affects decision making and strategic planning. The next one is you're talking about critically analyzing Ice Age's current practices. So you are suggesting they should explore financial reports, maybe have internal audits, market research studies, customer surveys, customer analysis report, engage industry experts or consultants to help look at the current issues they are having as challenges. So even though your audit firm is trying to look into the area the company is asking them based on requirement 1 and 2, there are also areas they could ask other experts who are not just accountants or an audit firm to provide solution or recommendation for them. So that's what you're saying in the second point. The third point is Ice Age also have ethical issues. These are the ethical issues. Number one, supplier relationship. You see that they are not paying their suppliers on time. So these are the ethical issues you should point out here and this parameter. The next one is minimum wage compliance. You can see that they are not complying with minimum wage, which raises ethical concern about fair labor practices. So this approach exploits high unemployment in the case of Nigeria. This is Nigeria's situation to justify lower wages, which can be seen as unethical, and it may have legal repercussion. Remember, they also were procuring raw materials that are of lower quality from smaller suppliers to cut their costs. This is also an ethical issue. We talk about customer service and communication. The failure to honor advertised after sales service policy is also an ethical issue. You have a policy and you are not adhering to it. Impacts your honesty and integrity, which is a very big issue and can damage a company's reputation. An ethical issue is also investing in people, which they are not doing. Refusal to consider minimum wage and also exploiting the current issues with the company is a challenge. Also, the financial reporting, the full rate of the corporate note lacks transparency. Imagine the finance director saying he's going to charge 6% based on the exhibit as finance cost. 6% not on loan, but as finance cost. That is also an ethical issue. So take note of them and discuss them to pick your maximum marks. Also, we looked at the current supplier issue here, which is a risk. The supply chain is hampered by just one supplier. So they are supposed to have many suppliers, which is also an ethical issue you should talk about. There may be fraud in procurement. Giving preference to one supplier, maybe the procurement team giving that guy a preference so that they can be collecting kickbacks. Currently, the fraud in procurement, you see people are arranging with vendors to collect money after they've provided services. They will say, add this, maybe the price of the service or the goods, raw materials is a particular price. They will say, add my own on top. That is the fraud going on currently in procurement. So talk about it and how they are supposed to solve that issue later. Okay, so we've spoken to 4 issues under that parameter. And finally, we look at risk assessment, number 6. So risk assessment is a form of evaluating your judgments, and based on our header, you will see that we are trying to evaluate our judgmental skills. How are we judging the matter based on risk, positive and negative? So the first issue is retaining higher skill staff. This is crucial in addressing operational issues. So the risk of people, this is a people risk. You can see that they need to work on their recruitment and replacement of those that have left, and also motivating those that are around. So you're speaking about the first issue of staff, which is a people risk, very important. Number 2, the possible lack of integrity with Ice Age manufacturing management. If the management provides misleading information to auditors, you see that there's financial reporting issue. So that's also a risk to the company. Also, effective customer relations management is very important. So they need to manage the risk of customer relations, like that customer they did not provide after sales service for. They need to manage him well by ensuring that feedback is given to him. This is the reason, and we are going to solve the issue or ameliorate the issue by making it up to you. So customer relationship management is important, and a risk, positive risk, they need to address so it doesn't impact their reputation. The next one is low quality materials have significant risk, product defects, and failure to meet industry certification. So these issues have been spoken about in other parameters. Speaking about them here also is valid. Why? Because you want to pick the points expressly. So in conclusion, don't forget, after we've spoken 6 times 4, we have 24 marks. Let's pick our 4 marks from our conclusion and recommendation, which is 32 marks. So you speak on 24 paragraphs, then the conclusion, you should talk about 4 from what you have spoken about in the last 6 headers. Don't forget that, because your structure, your lexis and structure in your report matters to the examiner. In fact, it will make you pass in landslide if you follow this structure. Landslide, I mean it. All right, so we are concluding on the issue of areas of concern of procurement, operational inefficiency, customer relation management. We are concluding that by examining such issues as supplier reliability, quality of raw materials, workforce management, distribution effectiveness, the model provides a comprehensive view of the company's strengths and weakness. So you can see that model is actually, to some extent, speaking to Ice Age's issue. It spoke to the weakness and opportunities, especially in the area of primary and support activities. B, cash flow and liquidity management at Ice Age are crucial. You see that the cash flow issues are not efficiently managed. So they need to invest in ensuring that their cash flow, especially working capital management, you see that their current asset is lower than their current liabilities. All the parameters of the current assets are having issues. Inventory, receivables, their cash went down. So they have cash flow management issue. But their liabilities went above their current assets. So the next issue is external issues, factors, market trends that impact them positively or negatively. So favorable conditions and regulations impacted Ice Age. We are concluding that these economic downturns, stringent regulations, they need to adapt to it and proactively manage these factors. They are very crucial to the success of Ice Age. So take note of that. Also, to gain understanding of Ice Age external environment, you are suggesting or concluding that they could use PEST tool also, because mostly the Porter's model looked at the internal environment. So the support and the primary are internal issues, but the Porter's model does not cover PEST tool or SWOT. Opportunities and threats are external to your company. The strength and weakness are internal, but the opportunities and threats are external. PEST tool also are external. So you are concluding that they could also use PEST tool to analyze their issue. You pick 1 mark there. Okay, so let's recommend based on these 4 conclusions we've drawn. Our recommendation is that we implement a good CRM. So what's the issue is conclusion. So the recommendation is recommend based on your conclusion. We recommend a good CRM to manage customer data, track interactions, and manage feedback. So in making recommendation, some ACAs in the last mock exam just said the company should do this, but they won't tell you how. In your recommendation, you ask them to do this, but you should tell them also how to do it. So the issue is they should ensure they track interactions, manage feedback. How? By implementing customer relation management. Now you have told us how. But if you say Ice Age should track customer data, interaction, manage feedback effectively, that was not a full recommendation. Take note of that, ACAs. A full recommendation is telling them how. By implementing. You've told us how, so you pick your 1 mark. If you say manage feedback by customers, manage customer data, that's no information. That's no solution to the problem. So take note of that, please, ACA. As you are making your recommendation, tell them how. You see, to address cash flow and liquidity management, they should develop. This is what they should do to address the issue of cash flow management. Budget, forecasting, liquidity, you are telling them how. So as I was marking your last script, a lot of people were recommending, but it was just blank statements. There was no way the management could use that information to implement. So as chartered accountants, we are providing solution with specifics. Your solution should be SMART. The SMART acronym is specific, measurable, attainable, realizable, and time-bound. Take note of that SMART acronym. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and also time bound. It's very important. So to address cash flow management, they should do this. You give them forecasting, budgeting, liquidity analysis, and all that. You also talked about robust management practices, optimizing their receivable and payable, negotiating credit. So these are ways they are telling them to reduce the issues they have. Third point, to enhance negotiation and management of relationship with suppliers, they should focus on clear communication channels. This is how they should do it. Setting mutually agreed upon terms, building long-term relationship based on trust and collaboration. They should negotiate favorable terms such as pricing, payment conditions. You see, you are telling them how reliable delivery schedules can be used to demonstrate the value they can provide for long-term agreements for bulk purchase and all that. You can see you are telling them the issues and how to solve them. Number 4, to improve sales, they should consider exploring untapped markets. They should break into virgin markets, conduct market research for potential opportunities, expanding into new geographical locations or regions, target different customer segments, and diversify product offering to meet unmet needs. So you see, you are telling them how to improve sales and what to do to improve their sales. And the last recommendation, or number E, using the output of value chain model, they can identify and minimize their weakness. So that value chain model is good, especially in speaking to ICE age. It's talking about inbound logistics down to after sales. You are mapping out each activity and assessing its inefficiency based on the model. So you are recommending that they should implement based on that model what those parameters on the primary and the supporting activities are found out. So ICE can pinpoint areas of improvement based on this model by streamlining operations, reducing costs, addressing weakness of their deteriorating or outdated technology, improving supplier relationships, and so forth. Another point, I gave you so many, but if you're giving 4, you are okay, but I gave you about 7. They should consider monitoring and adapt to the external environment by also implementing or incorporating PESTEL. It will help them address internal, which the Porter, PESTEL will address external, but Porter addressed internal. So you are recommending that they should also be doing PESTEL analysis, make proactive adjustments, and seize opportunities to mitigate risks, to maintain resilience, and support long-term success. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we have just finished requirement 1, and it's almost 9 o'clock. We've spoken to the full points. So we have 32 paragraphs, which we are trying to pick 32 points directly from item 1 to item 8. So item 1 to 6 are your discussion, then item 7 and 8 are your conclusion and recommendation. Thank you very much for listening, and we need to close and rest. So I'll take your questions on requirement 1 so that we can close for the evening. Okay, the floor is open. Floor is open. I'm waiting for questions. Or we all understood what I just discussed. Nobody is raising his hand. Nobody is asking any questions. Are we all okay with the explanation? Okay, fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you, Danny, for that feedback. All right. Any other question, any observation, any criticism, any recommendation? Isi Mohammed, you normally ask questions. Chair lady, no any question, no questions, or we are okay with the analysis?
Well, it's fine, but case study.
Don't worry, this time around, Allah will Torah cancer.
I know class captain, she's there now laughing.
Don't worry, this time
No
around.
problem, good. But no problem. And there is a problem. There is a lot of it.
All right.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, please, concerning Tuesday.
Yes. Okay, so let's talk about it in the class. Class, can we move it to Wednesday based on ACA Mohammed's recommendation? Do we move it to Wednesday, or we should still maintain Tuesday since it will be recorded and we'll put it on the YouTube page? What do we suggest? Let's have a general consensus on that. Okay, Michael, you want to say something?
We can move it to Wednesday.
Okay,
it can be
all right.
To
we
Wednesday.
Have one person. Okay, it can be moved to Wednesday. Okay, Dami, can we move it to Wednesday?
No, sir, we're having all this on Wednesday, 5 to 7, except we start around.
Okay, so we have one yes, we have one no. All right, chair lady. Okay, sorry, Michael, you are trying to say something. Go ahead.
No, I said the time that we're going to start. Can we make it like 8? Instead of starting by
so do
7.
we start by 8 on? Yes, do we start by 8 on Wednesday? Is it okay by us?
That means 8 to 10. Okay.
Yes, maybe 8 to 9 or 8 to 9:30. We'll try to be fast so that we'll not waste too much time.
All right, sir.
Okay, so 2 people have concorded for Wednesday. Sorry, go ahead, Dami. You said?
I said the class captain will talk now.
Oh, we are struggling to hear you. I can't catch what you said. Did somebody hear what she said?
She said that the class captain should talk.
Oh, okay. Yes, so this year Mohammed has said class captain has kept mute. Are you sure she's still on the call? I can see her, Sha.
She is.
We are here.
Don't mind her. Madam.
Case study of case study us.
Sir, I want to ask a question.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
This recommendation we are doing, are we going to include it in the executive summary?
Yes. So your recommendation must be in the executive summary, but summarized. In the body of report, you spoke extensively, but in the executive summary, it should not be more than 1 to 2 lines. 1 to 2 lines. Don't forget your executive summary, maximum 2 pages. Now, I saw one ACA also repeated the same mistake he made in the first mock. His executive summary was 3 pages, and I had to call him. I say, ACA, why is your executive summary 3 pages? The examiner is going to penalize you. He said, sorry, sir, I took note. So your recommendation is maybe 5 lines in the body of report. In the executive summary, it should not be more than 1 or 2 lines. Summarize it.
That was
age. You said?
That was what affected me in the last time. I wasted a lot of time.
So executive summary, yes, ACA. So most of the time, we don't adhere to the examiner's instructions. So, for example, let me share the screen and talk about how we summarize. Let's see. Let me just share the screen briefly. Let me talk about one summary. Okay, so you want to summarize point F. IAM should continuously monitor and adhere to external environment by analyzing factors such as economic trend. Good. You just say ICE age should monitor external environment by using pestle. Shikina. One line has written that.
Okay.
IAM, you see, you've spoken about it in 5 detailed paragraphs here, or lines. 5 lines. So in your executive summary, ICE age should monitor their external environment by using pestle. 1 line is okay in your executive summary. So 2 pages executive summary, you can do executive summary on 1 page. If you look at my internal audit reports, my executive summary is on 1 page. So the examiner is clear and he's very, very meticulous about you doing your executive summary in maximum 2 pages, not 3 pages. It's a summary of everything you've said. So answering your question, your recommendation will be transcribed in a shorter form on your executive summary. Don't forget, it's 4-4. So on the body of the report, you have 4 recommendations for requirement 1. On the executive summary 2, 4, but 1 line, maximum 2 lines in your executive summary, so that you don't overflog it. Now, when he's matching your executive summary and your body of report, he'll just be giving you the marks. Don't forget, requirement 1, executive summary and conclusion carries 8 marks. Requirement 2, 8 marks. You see, your executive summary is already 16 marks for conclusion and recommendation alone, 4. So please take note of that. I hope that is clear.
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Okay, any other question? We're already 9:04, so that we can go. I've not ironed my clothes set for tomorrow. I need to go and start ironing. Any other question? Okay, I think in the absence of any question, we would close for now. So, okay, somebody's trying to say something. Dami, go ahead.
No question, sir.
All right, thank you. I can see you guys clapping for me. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate the clap. And we'll see you on Wednesday by 8 p.m. All right, thank you, AC Mohammed. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Yusuf. Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you.
Can we have the soft
All
copy?
right, good night, guys. Yes, so we'll have the soft copy on Wednesday when we've concluded. Yes, on Wednesday. We'll share the soft copy on Wednesday, and we'll also share the recording on our YouTube page, on my YouTube page, so that we can go over it and over it again. We'll all share those details on Wednesday.
Thank you, sir.
All right, you're welcome. So good night, guys. Have a lovely night rest, and see you on Wednesday. Oh, okay. Dami is raising her hand. Dami, you're saying you want to say something?
No. I'll say good night.
All right, good night. Charlie is raising her hand.
Charlie.
Thank you for the heart. Thank you, Charlie, for the heart message. Thank you. All right, go ahead, Charlie. You are raising your hand.
I'm not.
Oh, okay, maybe it's a mistake. All right, good night, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.